Every once in a while, an event occurs that brings risk to bear on the bank balance sheet. We plan for it, we think about it, we visualize it, but when it bites, that's the moment of truth. The Russia Ukraine crisis is one such geopolitical event. It gives us an opportunity to examine the event and its consequences for bank balance sheets. And this program is designed to help you think through exactly that. From a risk assessment perspective, this is a deep program. It starts by looking at, yes, the Russia Ukraine crisis, but then looks at it from the perspective of credit risk, and we spell out in fair detail what is the balance sheet impact, taking the example of a real global bank that has significant Russian exposure. Societe Generale has an exposure to Russia via Rosbank. We examine that in particular. We look at how commodity finance gets impacted, normally considered self-liquidating, but how does a geopolitical event impact that exposure? Ditto for project finance. Nord Stream 2 provides a great example. Liquidity. When a crisis happens, money evaporates. What does that look like and what are the ways out for a bank? We look at all the exposures from flow products, starting with market risk all the way through to settlement risk. And sanctions impact how you permit demand deposit accounts to operate. Correspondent banking. Who are your clients? Which are the banks that use your correspondent banking services? How are you impacted? If you use correspondents to serve the market, which is now sanctioned, like Russia is, what are the impact points for you? Trade finance, normally considered very secure, suddenly comes into sharp focus. Country limit, currency limit, which are those LCs for which we've undertaken commitments. Moving forward, wealth management, where we normally do not consider any credit exposure unless fully collateralized. How quickly does that collateral melt and a margin crisis erupt when there's a geopolitical event? SWIFT, something unprecedented, really unexpected, was SWIFT closing out Russia. So SWIFT loses its status to an extent as a neutral body, but did they really shut out all of Russia? And a bit more on sanctions, some more perspective on how sanctions operates, given the Russian story. You are in compliance, you are in risk, your job is to follow sanctions. How are you going to make this work? And finally, a startling story. With all these sanctions in place, what was the ISIS able to do? All that in this program. Let's go ahead.